Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I am your host, Jessica Gerlock, and we are back with a great episode that I hope that some of you, during these crazy times that this world is going through, can help lead you in a more positive way. We're going to talk about how to deal with stress. And I see it all the time with my clients. I see it a lot with men. They don't know how to express their stress. You see it in anger, you see it in eating, you see it in a lot of different ways for different people. But stress can show itself in many different ways, physically and mentally as well. So I want to talk about some healthy coping strategies to how to deal with stress today. Um, Exercise and healthy eating are only a part of how to manage your stress levels. There are many different ways to manage stress levels that I want to talk about with you guys later that are healthier than, you can go through a rabbit hole of going through drugs, alcohol. That's not a healthy way to manage stress. Stress can, end up impacting your mental health and could end up being showing itself in anxiety and depression. And if you cope with stress in unhealthy ways, such as drugs or alcohol, there will only be a downward spiral from there. And if you deal with stress in more positive ways, such as meditation, therapy, exercise, proper sleeping, proper eating, um, you know, dealing with it head on with instead of using distractions or avoidance behavior is really important too. So we're going to get into all of it, as I said in the beginning, there's so much things that we can't control in this world right now that is causing people stress, whether it's financial stress, whether it's, political stress, you know, there is um the world is at a place that we're going to build from our resilience from. But right now, going through it, we have to learn how to deal with it in healthy ways so that we can get through it and see the more positive on the other side. So, the whole idea of stress management and how to manage your stress levels, I want to talk about it right now, in fitness and in healthy lifestyle ways, and dealing with healthy habits versus unhealthy habits. As I said before, those unhealthy habits could be, you know, drinking, going to a bar after work, or drugs, or it could show even eating, overeating, binging to deal with stress can happen as well. So we want to shift your idea to healthy coping mechanisms to deal with stress, because if we think about the big picture, we can only control our reactions to everyday life stressors, whatever that may be. Maybe it's family stressors, maybe it's, as I said, financial stressors, maybe it's health stressors, whatever it may be. We can only control our reactions to those. And our reactions come from our habits. And our habits could include, socializing, as I said, and I talk about it, the importance of sleep to manage your stress levels. If you're up all night thinking and going down that rabbit hole, it's not going to help you. Get your proper 8 to 9 hours of sleep. It's really important for your body's functioning and to keep your stress levels down as well. Socializing can also really help with your stress levels. If you feel alone, if you feel like you are, need to express yourself in ways, get together with friends or family. And if you don't have friends or family, go to like a local group activity that maybe you are interested in, and then you can meet people that have a similar mindset. I like to work out, so go to a local gym, meet people who like to work out. They usually have that similar mindset, and having that feeling that you're not alone is a really important thing because everybody in this world is dealing with some kind of life stressors. You know, even with all the money in the world, more money, more problems, more life stressors. Everybody has to deal with stress in a way that is going to not bring them down. And there's a lot of ways to deal with stress that are unhealthy and are only going to lead to a negative result, which we want to really try to avoid. So you have to have a bunch of tools in your toolkit to deal with stress and to manage your stress levels. Some of those tools could be, exercise. Some of those tools could be therapy. Team up with a therapist that you really get along with. If you feel like you need to get it off your chest, or you can't deal with the stressors alone, find a therapist that you can relate to and that you feel a connection with. Just like a personal trainer, not every therapist is going to be for you, and not every personal trainer is going to be for you. But, figuring out what your goals are and what you want from a therapist, and then teaming up with a therapist that understands you will really get you further than just picking any therapist because of price or whatever. But, finding somebody who maybe is closer to your age, your ethnicity, um, someone who might understand where you're coming from. I'm a 33-year-old. It might not, yes, I can get great results from a 70-year-old therapist, but it's probably better for me to find maybe a female younger therapist who kind of gets the stage of life that I'm in when talking about career, whether to talk about my personal life, whether to talk about my romance, like whatever it may be, find a therapist who connects with you, because you will get further and actually see results at the end of the day. If you find that, you can't just deal with stress with exercise and proper sleep and socializing, go get therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. Just find a way to manage your stress levels in a healthy way. And therapy is a tool in your toolbox that can be done that way. Even another tool in your toolbox to just deal with life stressors is breathing. Just slowing down your breathing will really help you get back to that present moment and slow life down for you. Stress you could really go on a downward spiral with the stressors of life, you know, but I always say this, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And if you don't tackle that stress in a healthy way and you let that stress take over you, then you'll go on that downward spiral. And that's what we want to try to avoid. We want to always keep moving forward. We want to stay positive and to handle stress, whether using breathing techniques. I'm really into the square breathing, the idea that it just slows your breathing down and you realize the present moment. And, anxiety is worrying about the future and depression's worrying about the past. But when you slow your breathing down and you look around, it brings you back to that present moment where the anxiety goes down, the depression. You don't think about the past or the future. You think about right now, right here. And right now, right here is really good for most people. So, using breathing techniques, yeah, you can use yoga to manage your stress. Just slow it down. Life is such a hustle bustle these days that we need to just slow down for a second. bring ourselves back to that present moment, reduce your stress levels, and it'll have an impact in every aspect of your life. The another idea that I want to talk about with bringing down your stress levels and stress management is that mind-body connection. Realizing that there is a relationship between your mental and your physical health. When you take a situation, let's say when you imagine a situation, your body will respond to it mentally and physically as if that actually was happening to you. This is because the brain and the body are interconnected through neural pathways, neurotransmitters, hormones, chemicals. So, how we think and how, I normally, you don't know what the eggs or the chicken come first, but I think it starts in your mindset. So, it comes back to that. The way you perceive the world is the way your body will act to the world. An example I want to talk about is the example of anxiety for that mind body connection. It really is for the visual learners like myself. Anxiety can manifest itself in so many different ways, physically and mentally. And I've talked about that before. When I was diagnosed when I was a teenager with general anxiety, it wasn't just, you know, my depression, which it led to, or that stress, or and the way the negative thoughts, the intrusive thoughts were happening in my brain. But it also manifested in ways like stomach aches, like I had to get my gallbladder removed because it just stopped working. It manifest like the anxiety manifests its way into like that rapid heartbeat most people know about, when your heartbeat starts going really fast, and some people might get stomach aches or headaches or whatever. And there's physical pain that can be associated with your anxiety. So that goes back to that mind body connection because your anxiety is leading to the to the physical symptoms that you're actually feeling. And you might not even connect the two, but it's important that if you are having, chronic stomach aches that I used to personally have, my stomach, my gut, and most people's guts are like when you don't feel well, it affects your gut. So my I have a very sensitive stomach. And so when I do feel anxious, when I do feel depressed, when I do, you know, have to handle stress, it affects my stomach 100%. And um, I get nauseous a lot if I'm anxious. And that's that mind body connection. It's the physical symptoms brought on by that mental state or that mental illness or, from your mental health in general. So there are ways to strengthen that connection, which is very important for people, is meditation, deep breathing, as I talked about, healthy eating, exercise, mindfulness, all the ways to bring yourself feeling that connection with your breathing, feeling, admitting to how your body is feeling, not just saying I'm okay, but saying when you bring yourself to the present moment, you could feel your body. Right now, I feel great, maybe I'm a little hungry, but my stomach, in general, I feel good and my stomach feels good. But if you are not in the present moment, you don't know how your body feels. So again, that the way to strengthen that mind body connection is most ways of living a healthy lifestyle. It goes to the healthy eating, the deep breathing, bringing yourself, getting that oxygen, exercising, you know, mindfulness. It all is will enhance that mind body connection so that you realize that you are one with your mental and your physical health, and that sometimes they will affect each other. So you have to be aware of that. And not when you're aware of what's going on in your body, it also reduces your stress levels. So, like when you don't know what's going on in your body and you have aches or pains and you can't explain things and whatever, it causes stress. So, being aware of what's going on in your body, how do you feel? If you don't feel good, go to a healthcare professional and get that checked out. It's really important. It's important to be aware of what's going on in your body. Go get your annual checkups. Don't, avoid men especially. They avoid the doctor. They don't want to see what's going on, but that's when you're falling behind in preventative care. You can do preventative care for yourself, and that's a really important, and that will reduce stress levels. I remember when I was dealing with my at my worst, I was in the doctor every single week. And I swear, it's like everything was, oh, but there's no rhyme or reason. Well, I could tell you all the now. I could tell you the rhyme or reason. It was stress, it was anxiety, it was depression. That was all affecting my physical health. And there was no explanation because it came down to stress. It came down to anxiety because I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know how to bring myself to that present moment. I didn't know coping skills. I didn't know how to focus on my breathing, to exercise, to reduce my stress levels. Like I didn't handle it properly. And that was sending me to the doctor every single week. And I'm happy to say, like, now I go to the doctor like for my annual checkup, and I say I'll see you next year, and I feel great. And I know, when things start acting up, I go take care of it. I know how my body is supposed to feel, and I know when I'm sick, and I know, I'm very aware. I'm self-aware, which is one of the biggest strengths that people can do, is being self-aware of what's going on in your body mentally and physically. So that mind-body connection for everybody is so important to strengthen and keep going and being aware of that. So I want to move on to just a quick little bit. I'm talking about stress and I'm talking about mind-body connection, and everybody in this world needs to focus on those to strengthen themselves and to live their best life. And when you use fitness, because this is a fitness, self-help podcast, when you use fitness, I want people to understand that everybody's fitness journey is different. And, you know, you could put a 5 foot girl right next to me. But if we have, different ages, if you're pregnant, if you're postpartum, if you have chronic injuries, if you have chronic pains, if you have disabilities, if you're younger, if you're older, everybody is different and unique in their own way, and their fitness programs should represent that. I hate seeing these like older, usually males, that are like doing these crazy intense workouts, but like then they get hurt and they're off for, a year or 2 years, or they might never even go back to it. And it's like, work out for you. Don't compare yourself or your fitness journey or your health journey to anybody else's. It's important to focus on you. So if you do have a shoulder injury, if you do have, um, you know, knee problems, find, do a fitness program that will build the strength and not put you back 2, 3 steps in your fitness and health journey. Because just because you see somebody else doing it at the gym doesn't mean that that exercise is appropriate for you. I see it all the time. People watch what you're doing at the gym, and then right after they try it out themselves. And if you don't have, I used to do this all the time because I really deadlift and squatted really heavy, and I would see men watch my squat and then say, "Oh, I'm gonna do it with the same weight," and then like, you're gonna hurt yourself. Stop. Stop comparing yourself. Just work out for your body. I'm not gonna compare myself to a 6 foot athlete. I'm going to do what's good for me. I know what exercises are good for my body, and I'm not going to follow what everybody else is doing because I don't know their special conditions. And you know what? I don't really care. Unless they're my client, then of course I care. But people watch each other at the gym and then they try to emulate it. But like, first of all, form is number one for me. And I've been also working on my fitness program for almost 11 years. So somebody who doesn't have that experience and then does something that could really lead to injury, and it's not worth it. It really isn't. So, if you don't understand how to work out for your special population, hire a personal trainer. Because I promise you, I will not give exercises that you cannot complete or that you shouldn't complete. If you are, I have a lot of pregnant women, or if you're postpartum, you can't think that you are that, have the same body before you gave birth. You have to think about, you basically your abdominal wall is broken. So you have to take that into consideration. Your body has changed, your hip dysplasia, like all that different kind of type, you have to take it into consideration. For older adults, your main goal in a fitness program should be fall prevention. As we get older, your balance goes off, your equilibrium goes off. So to work on strengthening your equilibrium and work on developing your strength, that if you, God forbid, do fall, you are strong enough to be able to get up and not hurt yourself and not have injuries at the end of the day. So making sure that you work out for yourself and address the unique needs of whatever your specific population is, whether you're a female, male, your specific conditions, different age groups, it all is specific to you. And please don't compare yourself to anybody. Just keep improving yourself in your lane. And if you don't know how to work out for yourself, hire a trainer, hire a personal trainer that can develop a workout program developed for you, specifically and uniquely for you. So I want to end this podcast with a tip of advice to also help as a tool in your toolbox, let's say, to manage stress levels, and that is music. I want you to use music and to help develop your decrease your stress levels. When I listen to something nostalgic like the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or Britney Spears or whatever, and I get into it during a workout specifically, I usually work out better. And faster tempo mean and more positive music is really helpful also. So find whatever music you like to express your, like, please don't listen to like Beethoven during a workout. Try to listen to a higher tempo, a more positive sound, whatever it may be, just to elevate your workout goals and make you feel better and in a more positive mood at the end of the day. It's really helpful. And again, it's just like we use, sleep or socializing, music can lift you up. There is a strength of music that can lift you up in out of a funk to a really positive, good mood, depending on what you're listening to. So, my tip of advice is find music that lifts you up, puts you in a good mood, because that can help manage stress, and make you feel alive again. That is the whole idea of music. It's I use it all the time, and I think that there's a really important aspect to using music, especially during a workout, to motivate you and inspire you to keep moving and don't stop. So that's my tip of advice. Find music that works for you. Find music. Don't listen to Beethoven, please. It's not the best workout music. Even podcasts during a workout, try to listen to like upbeat music because a, a faster tempo is really helpful to keeping you going and keeping your heart rate up, especially if you're doing like cardio. It could be really daunting. So having music that you want to listen to, that you will follow through and that will keep you running or keep you doing whatever you're doing, it's really helpful and it makes you in a really happy mood. And I just want everybody to be positive and, realize that we're all in this together and everybody has stresses, but we have to handle it with resilience. And that's what the 5 Foot Strong podcast is all about, is being resilient to, whatever life throws at us. So I want to end it there. And I want to remember to tell everybody, remember, whether you're 5 feet tall like myself or 7 feet tall, we're all strong in our own unique and beautiful ways. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. And I'll see you soon. And I hope this episode inspires you to keep moving, manage your stress in healthy ways. And remember, we're all in this together. Have a fabulous day and stay strong.